All right, after several attempts to get the camera positioned where everybody can see, we'll get everybody having a good morning, I hope. 2, 3, 4, 5 whelps. Okay. I finally got a day off. I had to work all weekend. Got a couple days off, and I'm working on some more knife sheaths, as you can see. What we're doing right now is we've got them clearanced. And this is some stiff leather. I'm going to have to put some conditioner in this leather. And I'll tell you what, using it's what's going to help it. But we got them logoed with the old brand there. I kind of like that. We got 5 more here. I'm going to do a little video on putting the welps in them. It's simple. All you do is you take a sheath that's ready and you add a little bit of glue to the edge of the sheath. You'll take a whelp which is already scathed down to a nice point. Should be the right length. I've got a knife here. I can trim it if I need to trim it. We'll apply glue to one side of the whelp and then glue to the other side of the sheath. Be careful not to get a lot of glue up inside the sheath. It's not going to hurt it because no one's ever going to see it down in here. But before I glue this thing up all the way, I will dye the inside of this. That way it will be protected. No, people can't see this. They can see up in here, but they can't see all the way down in here unless they take a light and shine down in it. Most folks don't do that. But it don't matter whether they can see it or not. I know that it's protected, okay? If it ever gets rain in it, or if you got it out in the woods, it's raining, and it gets water down in it, it won't last near as long. It'll mold. So you want to get something in there and protect that leather. And I haven't decided yet, but I may take and drill me just a little bitty hole. A lot of guys will do this. They'll take and drill a little bitty hole in this sheath. And what that's for is to let out any water that gets in this sheath. You may be standing out in a downpour trying to work a deer up. Or an elk or whatever, some form of game. You may be out in the driveway. You could be anywhere. And you don't want your knife to set in a pool of water, and then next thing you know, because this steel on these knives will rust. So it's imperative that you keep oil on everything. All right, now that I've got that explained, we're going to do a little gluing and a little whelping here. So we'll take the whelp and we'll lay it in there like that and we'll check it. Always check. Better to check now and have a glue all over it and find out that you need to trim it, pull it off there and trim it. Then you got glue all over everything else. Awesome. That whelp's going to work. I got my glue right here. We'll make sure we're getting glue out the end of the bottle. All this stuff, you know, this is not rocket science. But I figured I'd make some content. Besides, I wanted to talk to y'all this morning anyway. Oh, yeah, we got glue coming out of there. Let me go get some clamps. And we'll do some gluing and clamping. I'll put some glue on here and just run a series of clamps down it until I run out of clamps. And when I'm out of clamps, I just have to let it set and set up. Once it sets up, then I'll bring the dye in and we'll dye everything. And get her closed back up and get her ready to stitch. What I'm going to probably do is use the ox blood on these 5. I've got different colors, brown and ox blood and black. I'll just mix them all up. I don't think it's really going to matter. So let me cut y'all off right quick and I'll go in here and get me some clamps. And we'll get to get. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. We got some dye. We got an applicator. We got our glue. We got an assortment of small clamps, which I use a bunch of these. About every time I turn around, I pick up a pack of them. And I've got 5 big ones for the toe. Got a lot of extra clamping power. What that's going to do is allow me to close the end of that sheath up really, really tight. You know, since this leather's tight and stiff, it will allow me to get a really good closure on that end right there. So that's going to work out good. And I'll take, and if I have to, I'll put it in a clamp and clamp it tight. Then put a clamp on it, excuse me. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to get our welt oriented to the sheath how we want it. We'll make sure one more time that it's going to fit. And it will. Okay. Try this one. Okay. Outstanding. Now, we'll just flip it over. We'll apply a little glue to it. Yeah, I said we were going to. I'll check my bottle and make sure there ain't no clogs in it. There it is. I've got a nice little awl here that can go in there and clean all that excess glue out of there that might be impeding the top. There we go. There's a lot of little things in this kind of work, and you're not going to catch them all. You'll catch a lot of them, but there's always going to be a little something that you'll forget or have to go back and do. That's part of it. This thing is very sharp, so we keep a protective cover on that thing. I've run them in my hand, and it doesn't feel good. Let's try it again. There we go. And we'll run a bead of glue down that welt. It's still not wanting to come out that well. Check it again. People say, John, you're not prepared. I said, well, sometimes I'm not prepared. And then sometimes I am. Most of the time I am. But this is part of it. I mean, you'll get stuff like this. Am I going to stand up and cut the video up? No, I ain't got time to do all that. Let's just clear it out a little bit right here. We'll keep getting it. I had to take the top off this time. Should have done it the first time. It's all right. We'll get it. There we go. Now let's put some glue on something. There we go. Now we can run a bead. Now we got to be careful because it will pour out of there now. We'll run a bead down the welt. One quick reminder. Whatever you do, do not get glue on the outside of this sheath, because that will prevent any dye or any conditioner that you put on this leather from penetrating into the leather. Once it dries, it will not come off unless you sand it off. And then you can see that it'll stick out like a sore thumb. So we'll run a bead of glue right down that sheath edge, just like so. Won't take much. You can get you an applicator and smear it on there with your applicator or stick. Me, I just use my finger. And we'll get that glue on there, just like so. Get it down in here where it belongs. We'll do the same thing with our welt. It's going to get covered in glue in both sides. So it ain't going to matter if you get glue on one side or the other. You just want to make sure it's spread even. Just like that. And then before you pick that sheath up, wipe your hands off. I used to get in a hurry and I'd have glue all over the sheaths, and then when I put my dyes and stuff on them, it wouldn't take dye, and then there I was. Nice, bright, shiny spot with no dye on it. And we'll lay the whelp in there like that. We'll get her lined up. Just like so. We'll start at the top. We'll get it lined up. And we'll put a clamp on it. Just like that. We'll keep lining it up. We'll put another clamp on it. And we'll go right on down. Line it up. Throw a clamp on it. And we'll just keep going all the way down to the end until we get everything lined up and clamped. Like so. It'd probably take 10, 12 clamps to do this, to do it right, get everything even. We'll just keep going right down the line. You want to get a good bond on your welt. And what a welt does, it just keeps your knife blade from cutting your sheaths, or your knife blade from cutting the stitching that we're going to use to hold this sheath together with. There we go. Just like that. Whelps in there. And if you want, you can take your awl and come in here and clean out all that excess glue right here. Really does not matter down inside, but we like to get it cleaned out. It's not going to hurt to clean it up. Just kind of go over it a little bit. Get it out of there. This glue sets up pretty fast too. It won't take 20 minutes. It'll be dry. And when we get it cleaned out of there, we'll set it to the side and go on to the next one. That's close enough. This glue dries clear, so you won't be able to see it. We'll set it down. And we've got enough clamps to do another one, so we'll do another one right quick. Take this out of welt. Open that sheath up a little. We'll check it. Make sure everything's going to be okay. And it is. Okay. We'll roll it over and put a bead of glue on it. Just like so. Don't take much. Okay, and we'll do the same thing here. All the way way down the edge. Just like so. Close your glue up. Looks like we're going to do 2 at a time. We'll smear our glue around. Just like that. Smear it on our welt. Okay. Mark the fingers off. Nothing on the sheath. Nothing on the board. We'll lay our welt in there. Line everything up. Put a clamp on it. Move on down the line. Clamp it. This is really not that difficult. You just need to plan your steps. When you get your steps planned, just follow through with them. We'll let these things set up real good. That way, you'll get much better result by being patient with it. Okay. Let's spread these out just a little bit. I'm going to add a couple more here. Keep an even pressure all the way down this thing. These little clamps really come in handy, and they're not that expensive. You can pick up a pack of these for a couple bucks at any Dollar General store. Get them all closed up here. Might as well do it right. Here we go. Number 2. All right, let's get us a drink of coffee. That's about all the little clamps I got. So we'll let them 2 knife sheaths sit there. And we'll let them sit there a little while. While I'm just doing this, I'm not working on anything here. We'll go in the back and work on an axe handle till these are ready. When they're ready, I'll move on to the next 2. Then I'll go back to working on an axe handle or a saw or whatever I got planned. It looks like that axe handle is going to get finished up. So I'll have her done today. I'll do some pictures. I might do a little video on it. But thank you. Appreciate you. It's not much. It's one step closer to getting these out the door, getting them to a happy person, I hope. God bless you. Watch Top Knot. Oh. Thank you. Thank you very much.